This is Callum, and just a couple months ago, he was just like most guys his age, where he was uncertain about his future and frustrated with the traditional options. Last week, he just sent me a text saying he made over $5,000 in a single week doing remote sales. No degree, no connections, no special advantages. In this interview, he's going to break down exactly how he did it, the specific steps he took, and how he made more money in a single week than most college graduates make per month. If you're a young guy who's looking for a real path to financial freedom without going $30,000 in debt, you need to watch this video. This isn't like some get rich quick scheme. This is a real conversation about a skill that's in massive demand right now. Let's get straight into it. Alrighty, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video on this channel. Today I'm welcomed by Callum. Callum, nice to have you on here.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, and in this quick interview, we're just going to run through Callum and his kind of journey because it's pretty insane and it's pretty incredible for some of you guys watching this channel right now. I'm sure there's a bunch of gold nuggets that you can get out of it, and it's going to be super relatable to where you're at right now. So for you, Callum, just kind of give me like an overview. Obviously, we started working around the start of 2025, so about 4 months ago or so in January. But kind of give me an overview. Like, did you try anything in terms of making money online prior to that or years before that?
Yeah, so to be honest, I've always felt like I want to do my own thing. I was in school, I graduated, and even in class, I'm like, I know this isn't for me. So
Yeah.
when I was younger in high school, I had like a landscaping company. I tried little side businesses, making videos, editing, whatever, because I knew I wanted to do something online or just my own kind of path. The months prior to when I first met you, I was really stressed out about money, not in the sense of like I'm struggling, but it's like I see people online who are making so much money. I know I have the skill set. Like I know I'm a smart guy. I know I'm hardworking, and I know that could be me. I just don't
Yeah.
know the path,
You know, you
right?
like could do it. Yeah.
I knew 1,000% I could do it. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So I tried crypto, I tried marketing for crypto people, like I tried everything, and nothing was making me money. And I was so stressed. I remember because I was in Norway at the time, I was on exchange. I remember writing in my journal, like, I just wish I had a sign for my future self that everything would work out. I remember that so vividly. Um, because I felt so unsure. Like I felt like I had all this energy, all this passion, but the path was so unclear. I had no idea where to direct it.
Yep.
Eventually, I come home from Norway, and my buddy Tommy, who's also a student with you, he recommends you. He's like, I've been working with Trevor for a couple months now. He's awesome. You have to get in. This is the thing. This is the thing that you should be focusing your time on. And the thing with Tommy is a great friend of mine. He doesn't just say that. Like some
Yeah.
people just say things. If he gives his word, I know it's the truth. So I reach out to you, obviously, get in contact and start learning, right? And the main kind of takeaway, there are a couple that I learned from you, but the main one that really stuck with me was to not put a timeline on your goals, right? And obviously, it's important to have soft goals. Like, oh, ideally, by this point, I'd like to make maybe 5K a month, 10K a month, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, right?
Yeah.
Be in shape. Soft goals are good because it gives you something to aim for. But what you were saying was a lot of people put these hard goals where if I'm not a millionaire in 3 years, I'm a failure. And 3 years come, let's say you're putting in all the work. 3 years come, you're not a millionaire yet. You think you're a failure, but maybe it takes 3.5 years. Maybe it takes 4 years,
Yeah.
right? And so the main thing that kind of opened my eyes was it's focusing on your inputs, right? If you just do the right thing every day, you do what you're supposed to be doing, eventually the output will come.
Yep.
Eventually. Like it's literally impossible for it not to come, right? And I think the beauty that I found with online sales is I knew, especially from seeing your success and seeing people in the space, the way you worded it is at the end of the day, it's a skill, right? Something like crypto, you could argue there's a little bit of luck, it's gambling, whatever. But with online sales, it's a skill. So it's all coming from within.
Mhm.
So that kind of outlined the path for me where it's okay. I know if I just go all in on online sales, right? Whether it's setting, dialing, closing, whatever it is, I know eventually it will help me get to my goal, which
Yep.
for me was, making money online, financial freedom, supporting my family, all of that,
Yep.
right? Another very important thing you kind of mentioned is actually I read David Goggins has a book called Can't Hurt Me. He has a similar kind of idea where
Yeah.
it's your why, right? It's why are you doing something? And so the example actually David Goggins gives is let's say you're, I don't know, he runs crazy races, like 100 miles into a race. Or let's say you're 80 miles in, it's a 100-mile race. You have 20 miles left, right? Your legs are broken, your feet are broken, whatever. The only thing keeping you going isn't your body, it's your why.
Yep.
And if your why isn't strong enough, you're going to give up,
Hmm.
right? It's the why of why are you doing this? If you're doing it, to be honest with you, if I'm just doing this, I'm putting all this work for a Porsche or something, right? Most likely, my why's going to break,
Yeah.
right? Because if I go 5 months without making any money while putting in the work every single day, I'm like, you know what? I don't really need a Porsche like that.
Yeah.
But when your why is strong enough, so for me, it's supporting my family, right? Giving them a life I know they deserve, they've never had. That's strong enough to keep me going,
Yeah.
right? In the times when I'm like, damn, I'm so tired. I'm in school right now. I don't want to do any of this, but the why kept me going. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a little bit of backstory of how I came across you,
Love it.
and kind of like the key takeaways, I guess, from your lessons.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, Tommy was recommending the program to you, so that kind of probably gave you a little bit of a push. But what specifically got you interested in remote sales as opposed to like all the million other things out there, as you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I feel like so I studied business in school, and they do a lot of case competitions and public speaking events,
Yeah.
with like live Q&A. I've always felt like I was pretty good at that. So I think it's important to find a path that's going to work for you, but also one that kind of plays to your strengths. Like I know I'm all right at talking to people. I'm all right at objection handling just naturally, right? Whether it's from
Yeah.
like school, my past businesses, whatever. And so I knew, okay, I see these guys online who are objection handling, recording their calls. I know I can do that,
Yeah,
right? So it's kind of a combination of my skill set, and then obviously having Tommy kind of recommend, outline that you're the guy.
for sure. And did you have any like big concerns or big questions before, or like almost like doubts before getting started, or were you just like, fuck it, let's go?
To be honest, no, I didn't really have any doubts because I know there's so much money that could be made online. And I knew with especially online sales, you're kind of placing the bet on yourself,
Yeah.
right? If you get good enough, the money will come. And I believed in myself. So
Mhm.
because of that, I wasn't really doubtful. Sure, there were times I was like, man, this sucks. But it wasn't like it's not going to work out. I always knew at the end of the day, this is the thing. It was just a matter of, when will it actually happen.
Yeah. What advice would you have to somebody who is like in the process of like trying to make money online and they're seeing video after video, one guy saying drop shipping, one guy saying affiliate marketing, one guy saying this, that, and the third, like what would be your advice to that type of person?
I think the problem with all these different choices is like, what's the word? It's like analysis paralysis or something like that, where
Yeah.
you have so many different options that you don't know what to choose, right? And I personally, I haven't tried e-commerce or drop shipping, so I can't really comment on whether that works or not.
Yeah.
But what I do think works is if there's a certain business model that you believe in, you have to go all in on that, right?
Hmm.
And this is actually something you talk about. You say how I forget the exact kind of graph you painted out, but it's people, they start making progress, and then once they stop seeing progress, they stop and they stop
Yeah.
completely, right? And then they go on to a new thing. So let's say I start with sales, making progress, stop making progress, I quit sales, go into crypto. Start making progress, stop, go on to something else. But eventually, the way you painted it is it's not linear. Growth isn't linear. So obviously, if you stick with something, you're going to make progress and that's going to cut. And you're going to make progress and it's going to cut. But eventually, you'll get to the point where it's exponential,
Yeah.
right? And if you are kind of flip-flopping around on different things, you'll never get to that point.
You're just shooting yourself in the foot because every time you jump to a new business model, you're like restarting your progress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure. Okay, sick, bro. And kind of walk us through and kind of give the audience like a timeline on your journey of remote sales because obviously it didn't start picture perfect. Like,
No, yeah.
yeah, just kind of
So,
give the audience a quick timeline on like what your progress has been like so far.
yeah. So, like you said, I started with you probably beginning of January. I landed my first offer within a week, which literally you called it. You said, just do this. And again, not to put like a timeline, like if it takes you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's fine.
Yeah,
But you said, if you just do this, which was 30 outreach messages a day, I guarantee you'll get an offer. And you're right, I got an offer,
yeah,
right? For me, it was within a week, which was awesome. Um, and so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say where I worked, but pretty much I worked for a certain company for about 4 months, and I was a dialer. Um, and every day, I'll be honest, so this is while I was also in school. So I had
yeah,
about 4 months of school, 4 months of dialing. And I'd wake up at like 6, go to the gym, come back, work until class, come back from class, work until like 10. So I was always very tired, not even tired, but just like it's a lot. It's
Yeah,
a lot
for
to do
sure.
in one day, especially when for me, I wasn't really making money. Across those 4 months, I probably made 3K USD,
Hmm.
right? Which less than $1,000 a month. I'm thinking like, damn, I know this is the thing, but in theory, I could have gone worked at McDonald's and had a much more consistent income,
Yeah.
right? But, and this kind of ties back to the why, it's why am I doing this? Do I believe online sales is a thing? Yes. Do I have a valid reason to put in the work, even if I'm not getting the outputs I want? Yes. Right. So I just keep on focusing on the inputs, on the inputs, on the inputs. And so that was about 4 months. Um, which again, I didn't put a timeline on it. So because of that, I was a lot less stressed. I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, right now I'm just developing my skill set. The money will come. The money will come. And I believe that. So because of that, I wasn't really very upset, but I can understand why someone would be,
Hmm.
right? Putting in all this work, not even making $1,000 a month. Luckily, actually, I wouldn't even say luckily. This is kind of just exactly how you painted it. Things change, right? The growth at some point becomes exponential. And so once I finished school, my goal was to start closing. I knew that, right? I was like, I think I'll have a good enough skill set to actually be a full-time closer.
Yep.
Um, and I'm still looking at a couple offers right now for closing with some really good offers, but pretty much I ended up landing this e-commerce position. It's kind of like a hybrid between closing and setting. Um, and I've been there for about 2 weeks now. In the first week, I made 3.5K. My on-track earnings are like 10 to 15 USD, which
Per
is
month.
fully remote,
Yeah.
fully online, which is
Insane,
ridiculous.
bro.
Like it feels like it just came like a massive tsunami hit me. Luckily, I went through those 4 months of work so I could handle it. I
Yeah.
know exactly how to handle objections, even in like the CRMs, like the technical stuff. I know exactly what to do to be more efficient.
I
So the
was
way it
actually going
almost
to
feels
ask
like,
you, like, do you
yeah,
think you'd be able to make the money that you're making or you're on track to be making and you are making without the prior 4 months of kind of build up to this point?
definitely not. 1000% no. It genuinely feels like everything is meant to happen for a reason and it's all
Yeah.
falling in place. I
Yep.
know if I got this offer at the beginning of January when I first met you, after a week, I'd probably fail. I'd probably
Yeah.
give up, or I wouldn't have the skill set to be able to deliver. So I'd probably get replaced.
Yeah.
Um, so it genuinely feels like those 4 months of just grinding, putting in the work, they're all coming back to me in like lessons and little things I've learned that I didn't even realize I learned. So I'm doing the job, answering questions, doing things right that just feel natural to me. But it's not natural, right? It took 4 months of work to get to the point where it feels natural.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
a lot of people skip through that. They think that they can just make all this money super, super quick, or it's just going to come out of the sky or whatever. But in reality, it's like a build-up process, like you said. Like you went through 4 months of just focusing on acquiring and building skills through some of the material that we're teaching, through role playing, through practice, through reps every single day. And you did it while you were in college, like while you had other commitments, which I want to circle back to in a second. But that's really just the key. And a lot of people want to just like skip through that or shortcut through that. And that's why they jump from business model to business model without ever really making any success in any of them. But I kind of want to circle back to your story because obviously during those 4 months of buildup, you were in college, and like you said,
Mhm.
you were exhausted at some points, and you had a pretty hectic schedule. Um, what advice would you have to somebody who is like working a full-time job, or maybe they're in college right now and they're weighing the idea of trying to make money online, but maybe they're a little hesitant because shit, bro, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, it is totally fair. Like I understand it's stressful and it's very tough. And I think it kind of, again, it just boils down to your why, right? Because in theory, let's say I wasn't working in college. I wasn't going through those 4 months. If I was given this opportunity now, which I wouldn't have even been able to because I wouldn't have had that connection, even if I was miraculously, I wouldn't be able to handle it,
Yeah.
right? So I guess it's a matter of how badly do you want it? I know a lot of people say that, but genuinely at the end of the day, it's just focusing on your inputs, right? If your why is strong enough and you're sure you want, in my case, to support my family and give them a life I know they deserve, then the sacrifice is I have to do it in college. I have to start now, right? It's really that simple.
Yep.
So, and I understand people are like, oh, I want to focus on my school, this, that, this. You can do both. Like you're a capable person. If you have all these high goals, like these crazy far out goals that a lot of people think are unrealistic, you're gonna have to put in the work at some point,
Yeah.
right? So that'd be kind of the way I see it. I'm glad I did it. I'm so glad I did. I'm so grateful I started when I started because I wouldn't be where I am now,
Yeah. And it's so
right?
funny, like a lot of people claim that they want these things. They want 10K per month, they want financial freedom, they want to give back, et cetera, but then their actions don't reflect that and they're not willing to do the uncomfortable shit to get them there. So like 100%, bro. And kind of walk us through now with your position. Like what does your day-to-day look like for the 3.5K a week position?
In terms of like the actual work or just like the time.
Yeah, like what does it look like day to day? What does your average day look like, I guess?
Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure how specific I'm getting to the work, but pretty much I'm in Canada, so I'm Eastern, right? I'll wake up about 6:30, and I'll go do cardio in the morning for about an hour.
Hmm.
And then I'll come home. I'll be home by like 8:30, shower. And then I'll start work around 9. I'll work from about 9 to 12. And
Hmm.
then I'll have like my first meal of the day. And then I'll work from 12 to 30 to about maybe 2. And then I'll go to the gym because I try to go before everyone gets there. So I'll go to the gym for about an hour. I'll come home. Maybe I'll go for a walk with my brother, spend some time with the family, and I'll log back in around 4 or 5. And
Hmm.
then I'll work from 5 to about like 10 or 11. Um, so I guess when I say it like that, it does seem like a lot of work, right?
Yeah, bro, but if you're making good money, like, and you're still simultaneously rebuilding your skills even more. So,
Yeah, yeah. I guess the thing is for those first 4 months, like let's say I was putting in those same hours, maybe those results wouldn't be there right away.
yeah.
So I think that's kind of where it's tough. Obviously, when you're seeing instantaneous or you're seeing the results of your work right away, it's easy to keep on working because it's
Yep.
easy to feel the actual joy from that, or at least the satisfaction knowing, okay, the work I'm doing today will pay off tomorrow because you have proof. When the outputs don't come as quick as the inputs, that's when it's a little bit more tough, right? During those 4 months, I'm putting in the same hours I'm putting in now, but I'm only making less than a K a month, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of where it just boils down to, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that online sales is for you? Right? If this is the path and your why is strong enough, then you know at some point you're going to get there. You
Yep.
know at some point, but you just have to keep on going.
Hmm. 100%, bro. And what would you say to somebody who is on the fence about working with me and joining this program? Like maybe they're kind of like almost there. Maybe they watch some of my videos and they really resonate, but they know investing in the program is going to cost some money and it's going to be uncomfortable for them. Like what advice would you have for that person?
I honestly think at some point you need to sit down and really think, what do you want? Right? A lot of people say they want all these things, which is fine. It's good to set goals, but they just say it and they don't actually mean it. Right?
Yep.
In my case, if I genuinely want to help my family, right, and provide them with like just the coolest life ever, right? Then I know at some point I'm gonna have to make a change that they never made,
Yep.
right? I'm trying to break that generational, not that's a curse, but I'm trying to change like my family's name forever, right?
Yep.
So that means I have to do something that all my past ancestors have never done. Most likely, what that is putting myself in an uncomfortable position,
And
right?
they're not going to understand it at all.
And they're not going to understand it at all.
Yeah.
No. But I guess what it boils down to is if you really want it, like genuinely in your heart, if that's something you want and you're willing to put in the work, then you have to make the choice, right? If the
Yeah.
choice is yes, then you make the uncomfortable decision. If the choice is no, which is fine, you just have to live with the consequences of that.
Yeah. And like what parts of the program have you most enjoyed? Like were there any specific parts that you really, really got a lot of value from and help from?
I'd say the biggest thing I'd pay it all over again is having you, to be honest with you, because you have so much experience that if I'm going through something, because this is new to me, right?
Yeah.
Online sales is new to me. I've been here for what, 5, 6 months. Um, if I'm going through an experience and I don't know what to do, this isn't the type of stuff you can Google, right? I
Yeah.
can't Google, what do I do in this situation? Whatever, because Google doesn't know. At that point, you need someone who's gone through the stuff so you can just directly ask them, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. What do I do? What would you do? Right? I think that's the main thing, especially when you're trying to start something online, something that's a lot less clear, where the path is less clear. You need a mentor. You need someone who's gone through it to guide you Because if not, it's almost like you're in the jungle whacking away at like all the leaves. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's in front of you. But if you have someone there, okay, you gotta go here. Now you gotta turn left and you gotta go right. Sure, it's still difficult. You have to put in the work, but it makes it a lot easier. So
Yeah.
I think just having you by my side, I paid double, triple what I paid for. Looking back, I do it all over again.
Love it, bro. Love it. Well, that wraps up the interview. Hopefully for the audience watching, hopefully you guys got some value out of this and hopefully you learned a couple things. And Callum, thank you so much for jumping on, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video and hopefully you got some good value out of it. If you're somebody who's looking for one-on-one assistance to go through the process of getting to 5 to 10K per month with high ticket sales, you can go to the link in the description and you can apply for one-on-one mentorship and you can just follow the link and it'll walk you through the full process. But hopefully you guys enjoyed and see you guys in the next video.